find a bottle with the turkey looking at you, those are the bottles you want.
They light this candle every time they come down and before they leave because there's actually ghosts. Wait, look at this. What is going on? Why are these in your car, sir? What is going on, everybody? We are back with another Whisky Boys vlog. I have my friend Andrew from Average Whiskey Drinker today. We are in Austin, Texas, and I just figured for this one, I'll just hop around to different places and kind of show you where we go to drink and do some fun things that involve whiskey. So first, we're actually at Kinfolk below Moonshine Patio and Grill in downtown Austin because we're doing something very fun. We're gonna be drinking a $350 cocktail made with vintage spirits.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So that's really cool. They have a wild turkey that's vintage. I'll show you a bunch of it. And we're with our friend here, Joe.
What's up, y'all?
He's getting stuff set up.
He's going to be making it for us and telling us why it's so special because I'm not the knowledgeable one. I'm just the one that drinks it. So we're going to be doing that. But also, let me give you a little sneak peek of Kinfolk.
Yeah, this spot is amazing. You got to show this off.
Yeah, this is it's a historic basement below Moonshine Patio and Grill, and before they were using it for storage and other things, but they decided to open it up so that can be used as a cocktail bar and also a curated whiskey bar. So you can actually sit down and learn about whiskeys. You can try things that you probably can't find anywhere else, like in the U.S. in certain places. But I'll give you guys like a little look around. This is easily one of the top whiskey bars in America, honestly, just for, like I said, because they're so curated, selecting quality over quantity when it comes to the whiskeys.
Speakeasy. It is one of the best speakeasies in Austin, too.
Yes, my top three.
Yeah. Oh,
here
easily.
nor there, and
yeah.
I don't even know like what compares to those two.
Yeah, I wouldn't count Garage as a speakeasy, but yeah,
Nope.
this is definitely one of the top speakeasies for sure. Midnight Cowboy I like too, but
yes,
but this place is amazing. I mean, you got to show. This is just. You got almost every whiskey you can ask for. They got amazing picks that they do. They got all the rare stuff, but they got a lot of non-rare stuff too. Like I said, the picks here are amazing. We just love coming here.
So yeah, first is this, and then we have something special coming after this as well.
I always like to start off tastings, wetting the palate or cleansing the palate a little bit, and what better to do it with than a little bit of Blanton's, our Moonshine single barrel pick, man.
So cool.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, guys.
Grateful to have y'all here.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Oh, we're shot it. Shit.
And Joe, you'll just be talking, but for the vlog, I want to introduce you. Would you mind telling everybody kind of like what you do here?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Joe Nguyen. I'm the Director of Operations for Moonshine Patio Bar and Grill here in downtown Austin, as well as our Avon Ranch location. And one of the minds behind creating this beautiful space called Kinfolk. It's located underneath Moonshine downtown. So just resurrecting what used to be a speakeasy during the Prohibition era and bringing it back to life outside of what happened during 2020, which I won't say what happened. Definitely the silver lining behind it. Yep.
This place is special. I mean, you know us. We're the Whisky Boys. We're in Louisville, New York City, all these different places. This place stands out among all the cities, not just Austin.
I bring every one of my friends from out of town, and every time I bring them, they have the same exact reaction.
Yeah. That's what I remember Jeremiah, like, because he lives in Jersey, the other Whiskey Boy. So we'd go to Philly, New York City, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and he was like, I think this is my favorite place.
It's special. It's definitely special.
I mean, I appreciate y'all, and I told you this before, Andrew, is that, we started the bourbon game back in like 2000, building the collection since 2012, 2013, before bourbon was even cool, when you could find Weller 12 on the shelf, and Eagle Rare and Blanton's and stuff like that. Eagle Rare, $23.
It's crazy.
Weller 12-year, $28.
That's crazy, man.
Those days, right? And then Larry and I, and we had this crazy idea of just, hey, let's build a dope collection. We only had like 12 back then or so, and now we house one of the largest single barrel programs in the state of Texas. Probably one of the first to bring a single barrel to the city as well.
That's wild.
But where we're at right now, 12 years later, still doing it, and love having y'all here because you get me reignited about bourbon and whiskey again. People are like, do you ever get tired of this? Like a kid that has access to candy all the time. Yeah, sure, you might have a stomach ache here or there or something like that, like eating too much candy, but having friends that you can share this stuff with and, talk about.
For sure.
It's actually funny you're saying that because we just went through the same experience because I met him, like, what, a year ago?
A year ago.
It's crazy. And you know, like part of the whiskey game is like hunting for whiskey because you just like want to see what you can find that day. And I kind of fell out of that because I go out drinking in Austin so much, and I just didn't have the passion for it anymore. Even though I still enjoyed whiskey, but there wasn't that community. And then I met you, and you were brand new to it, and you reignited it. And you're like, look what I found today. And I'm like, oh, how fun. And then now I had somebody in Austin to like share. Hey, I'm at Nickel City, or I'm at Kinfolk. Look what I got today. And now we're going. I'm like, cool. I have a buddy now, and he reignited it. Kind of like what you're saying. You get to see it through somebody else's lens,
for sure,
and it makes it fun again.
That's what Joe always says. I was like, you remind me of myself when I was young.
Well, in the bourbon age, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like 12 years ago, where I was geeking out and driving to every single store I tried to find, walking
crazy?
in, like, hi, getting to know the owner of the stores and stuff like that.
You got Blanton's in the back?
Yeah, well, you buy the shitty stuff first, right? And then you build that relationship. But that's what it's about, man. It's relationships.
100%.
These people, put in up their shelves like a trophy piece. I say pop it, man. Pop it and share it with your friends. Life's short,
100%, man.
And that's what I love about bourbon. It brings everyone together. It doesn't matter what skin color you are, or political beliefs, or whatever's going on in the world. For those 45 minutes, an hour that you and your homies get to hang out, like what's in the glass is all that matters.
Amen, man. I would cheers to that. Yeah, that's 100% correct, man. That's awesome.
I'm super stoked to get into this, man. I haven't done this personally yet, but crazy idea. Why not, right? So what we have in front of us. So at Kinfolk, we'll back up. In September of 2023, the state of Texas redefined the vintage distilled spirits laws, which allowed bars like ours to purchase spirits that are no longer available, that's older than 5 years, within the past 5 years that you can't purchase, right? And that opened a lot of doors. I mean, I was one of the few that were fighting for us, and everyone was like, why? And I was like, well, we don't have the same laws and rules like, your Carolinas, your Kentuckys, and, your West Coast places like Washington and Chicago have, right? So how could you even compete, with some of the ingredients they have access to, right? And so they listened, and a lot of going back and forth and helping them understand what it was. But, we're sitting in front of legal vintage distilled spirits, right? That we have at Kinfolk here in Austin, Texas, and I believe we were one of the first to serve a vintage cocktail here, as well as have vintage spirits in our back bar. I know it's been a while, but hey, better late than never, and I'm glad we're starting this now. So, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So, hope to have everyone here.
It's super cool. I'm not extremely knowledgeable on vintage spirits, but I know, some of it is that it was obviously made in a different time, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I've heard that sometimes like the crops that they used made the spirits better.
That's crazy.
They didn't have like pressure to pump out the whiskey as fast, so they were able to take more time and hand select better barrels. Nowadays they're like, we got to mass produce this to get it out to everyone. So these were just some of the things. Does that sound right to you? Is there anything else that makes vintage spirits like special?
Man, I'm so glad you brought that up, and I actually was talking to somebody about this in Kentucky. We said, well, it all depends on who you ask, right? Us, we like in the bourbon world, we like to call them dusties, right? Because these meant that these bottles back in the day, when you could go to a store and it'd be sitting on a shelf and you'd be collecting a layer of dust and just sat there for 20, 30 years, right? And or you might have found it in your grandma's closet or something like that, your grandpa's closet or something, right? These things are a time capsule, and what makes vintage distilled spirits different? Well, you're absolutely right? But then again, it depends on who you ask. Sanitation practices, right? Hey, how often did they sanitize certain vats or whatnot? Or was the yeast strain used to make wild turkey, which is the same recipe till this day, right? Did somebody leave their grilled cheese sandwich or their cheese sandwich in the fridge in the same area as their yeast strain, right? How often were they cleaning, some of these vats and things like that, and or what were they sourcing and where were they sourcing some of their ingredients? Ingredients have changed. Right? It's like terroir in the wine world, and also like just certain practices. Honestly, it was grittier. It was a different time, and sometimes not giving a F made really good stuff and really cool stuff. And back then, a lot of people didn't understand it. It probably got that wild turkey hangover. And then they're like, no, I hate wild turkey. But now everyone's looking for what we say. If you find a bottle with the turkey looking at you, those are the bottles you want. That means that these bottles are like from easily the early 90s before changing the label to the side profile of the turkey, which is here.
Interesting.
Side profile and turkey looking at you is what we
Can
kind
I
of
show a close up of this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta get that on.
What year is this, or does it say?
That's a 1991.
1991. So here's a vintage. Let me make sure this is in camera.
I actually never knew that. That's
Yeah, it's cool, man. Well, let's get into it.
do
What we're doing is we're going to go ahead and deconstruct what the end product is going to be, which I'm excited to make, the boulevardier, right? We're going to make a boulevardier using a 1991 Wild Turkey, right? A 1970s Campari, and then a 1980s Martini and Rossi Rosso. So what you have in your glass to the left, starting from the left, is going to start with your Wild Turkey, 1991 Wild Turkey, the vintage one.
Oh, the vintage
and then next one, you're going to taste the modern day version. And then after that, you're going to taste the 1970s Campari, and then the current one. So,
Cool.
yeah, Wild Turkey back then, other things that made it special as well, although it's labeled 8 years. Well, one, this is 1991 is when Jimmy Russell was making it, right? And that entry proof was anywhere from 105 to 107. I heard 105. Some people say 107 is in between 105 and 107 from what I've heard, right? Current entry proof is now 115. But back then, they couldn't sell bourbon and whiskey. All right? It was just sitting around. They were putting it in ceramics and like decorative things just to sell it. And they were paying taxes on all these barrels, so they needed to get rid of it. And one way they found a way of getting rid of it is like, although this label says 8 year, they were dumping 10-year juice in there, 12-year juice, and possibly even older, just to get rid of this stuff.
That's wild.
You know, like Jimmy, from what I understand, didn't really like older whiskey, right? He said 8 years old is where the magic happens. So had to figure out a way. So what you have in your glass is a 1991 Wild Turkey 101s, possibly 10 to 12 years old. It is a 1 liter, which is unique, and the cork did not break in it. It is real, but they call me the cork whisperer.
That is
Sometimes
super
I was
cool.
able to get it out, but obviously it broke. When I put it down, that's how you know it's real Wild Turkey.
Yeah.
Too, is the jokes that then I have this stopper here to prevent it from oxidizing or anything. But let's get into the glass, fellas. See what's going on.
You want us to do the vintage first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Ooh. Yeah, that nose is nice.
That nose is phenomenal.
Woo! That's that Wild Turkey funk, baby.
I was gonna say funky.
Yeah.
That nose is insane.
Yeah. And then also, I forgot to mention, like, this bottle says Austin Nichols on here. And Austin Nichols, from what I recall, is a wine and spirits importer back in the days, right? And they bought, they started working with the Rippey brothers and buying barrels from them, ended up buying them out in 1990.
Wow.
And then in 1991, so this is still before Pernod Ricard. So then Pernod Ricard bought them in 1991.
Okay.
Right? And then fast forward to 2009, Campari ended up buying them out from Pernod Ricard. So it's kind of cool bringing these generations that were separated back in the day together. Today.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Right? So,
Dude,
yeah.
this 101 is like a freaking sugar cookie. Did you like put crumbs of sugar cookie in this?
Brown sugar, yes. No, I'm kidding.
Man,
So tasty.
the noses are so different. It's not even.
That's so fun.
It's like a freaking sugar cookie.
That's so fun. It's got like this smoky, dusty minerality thing going on. It's like somebody's grandpa was smoking a cigarette while they were making this bourbon.
Yeah. That's why the old ones, there's so much funk to it, like we were saying before.
Right,
It's like that's it's just unique that you can't get
You can't.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It used to be kind of easy, but everybody's been jumping on it. Like you go to like estate sales and find bottles laying around, or like I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
a liquor store or something like that.
That's my next goal, is to get one of those just for my house.
Okay.
I'll be happy with just one Dusty for the house.
Just
like something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
Why don't you do it? Just come to Kinfolk and try them. Man.
true. Yeah. I don't gotta drink a whole one.
It'll be a fractional cost, and then you get to a variety. It's like dim sum.
Yeah.
It's like the spirits dim sum here, baby.
is.
I do say that. I say that about whiskey all the time, though. I'm a big proponent of going to bars to try whiskey first.
You got it, man.
Because yeah, of course you're going to play an upcharge. I mean, you have to. They're
Yeah.
finding it for you. You get to do it at a special place. But you know, some of these people, they buy $200 bottles and then you don't even know if you like it yet. Like, go try it first for $40 a
One
pour.
of the biggest,
Yeah, exactly,
one of the
man.
biggest mistakes I made when I started this whole thing, man.
Just
I was
buying
like-
random
I was
bottles?
Like, oh, Bland's, E.H. Taylor, I'm going to buy them all.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're not awful tasting
Sure.
stuff. But then I
I'm
started
sure you
buying-
had some.
Yeah, I'm like, why am I bought a Willet 6 year just because someone told me to get it, a green top, and I hated it. And I was like, why did I buy this? Just because of the hype?
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem happens when your wife starts telling you that, hey, we're running out of room, and this place doesn't need to look like a college.
Here, so we have to get a cocktail as well in addition to this vintage one we're drinking. So, can you make me an interesting whiskey cocktail?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do today, we're going to make the Prospector cocktail. It's one of my personal favorites. I always tell people if you like Old Fashions or Manhattans, you're going to love this one, and it's a winner every single time. So we're going to start off with a little bit of some saline solution for our cocktail, and then we're going to do a little bit of some Angostura bitters, along with our Weller Special Reserve, and one of my personal favorite sherries, the Pedro Jimenez. And then this time, we're going to spice it up a little bit with some 1970s vintage Averna.
More vintage, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
1970s, that's wild. Look at that. Also, I do want to say that they light this candle every time they come down and before they leave because there's actually ghosts. Or a ghost, right?
Or a ghost. There's a ghost.
Okay.
Yeah, her name's Kate.
Kate, so they want to appease her and make sure that she's not mad at anybody and let them know that they come in peace. And is there any? That's it, right? I
Just welcome her to the party.
Okay. Okay.
We want to make her feel welcome every single time, so.
So cool. So that's always lit when they come down here.
Dude, I don't fuck around ghosts, man. That shit scares me.
I'm not sure if we introduced Cameron Trevino.
Oh, yeah,
our
we
head
did,
bartender
but yes.
over at Kinfolk.
Amazing.
Massive, man.
Absolutely, right on. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of some saline solution, just 1 dash, 2 dashes of our Angostura bitters. We're gonna do a ½ ounce of our Pedro Jimenez sherry. Then we're gonna do 3/4 ounce of our vintage Averna.
What is Averna exactly?
Averna is one of my favorite Amaros. It is a Italian Amaro that has a very flat coat vanilla flavor to it, kind of like a caramel texture to it as well too. I'd say
Interesting.
goes well in a lot of rum tiki cocktails as well too. I'd say 2 ounces of our special serve Weller for all of our Weller fanboys out there. Ice it up. We do about 25 to 30 rotations for our mix. And we're going to chill our glass.
How cool is that?
That's sick.
Right.
It's so sick every single time.
That's so cool.
All right, let's pour this baby out.
Okay. Look at that color.
I know, right? It's actually dark this time too.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get our lemon. I like to flame it just a little bit first just to get that going. Activate those oils. And we're gonna roll her up. And then we're gonna torch our lemon wedge, not lemon wedge, our lemon peel. That's our vintage Prospector. Cheers, y'all.
Let's try it.
Oh, you're good. I know, right? Is that your first time having it?
Yeah, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, the cocktails here.
That is,
Well, man, we're talking to
I don't want to say 10 times better, but that's way better than a Manhattan for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how close it is as a cocktail, but
Yeah. I feel that.
little nuttiness.
ATX drinker approved.
Yeah, it gives you sweet. I always look for like complexity and balance. I'm sure that's like pretty common, but I like a little bit of everything. You know, I don't like we were talking about this before. I hate when a cocktail's just straight bitter,
Yeah.
or just straight sweet.
It's just like in your face.
Yeah,
bitter.
give me a little bit of all those notes, and that is fantastic. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely, bro.
Wow, you have to try this too.
I've been there before.
Oh man. Yeah.
Fresh.
Is that nice?
Holy moly.
All right, time for the vintage cocktail.
What's up, y'all? So, let's F around and find out, right? Earlier, we tasted the Wild Turkey 101 8-year from 1991. a 1970s vintage Campari, as well as a 1980s Martini and Rosso vermouth. Typically it's a one part, but after tasting this, that Campari is definitely bitter, it's oily, and it's a lot more viscous than what we're used to. So I'm gonna break it up. I'm gonna do and go a little crazy and do 1.5 ounces of Wild Turkey, 3/4 ounce of Campari, and then 3/4 ounce of the Martini and Rossi. So let's go ahead and start.
I love how my voice cracks.
He's singing.
Seriously, that's, you know, what makes this special, and I was talking about this before, some of the worst cocktails I have just lean too far one way. So you go to like a cheap bar that's making frozens, it's too sugary. You go to another place and they want a bitter cocktail and it's just straight bitter. This one, you get a little bit of bitterness, you get a little bit of sweetness, you get a little bit of the complexity from the bourbon. So it's very balanced. That's what makes what I like about it so much. And we were just saying this on the video that we shot. It almost reminds me of a dry aged steak, right? You get a little bit of that funkiness that you get with that extra age on there. So very unique for the people who like that special complexity that is out there. If you've been drinking whiskey for a long time or you've been trying many different cocktails, this is something that you have to try in your lifetime. Like, you have to try this.
$350. That's just nuts. Joe, you want a sip of this, baby?
Hell yeah, dude.
Whew. Wow, that is just so good. So freaking good.
Any thoughts?
It's just good.
I know, it's
It's
hard.
just good.
It's so hard to like.
Yeah, it's
But
just
you
good.
can tell the difference.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You're right. It's a lot more complexity. I can't explain. It's just so hard to explain. It just tastes a lot different, but in a freaking good way.
Yep.
Holy moly.
Officially at Fierce Whiskers. We're going to be doing a barrel dump, and this is where they're going to be setting it up. Have you done a barrel dump before?
No. 500. Class, that's a typical bench for you.
Yeah.
Get your nose right in that bung hole.
That's really nice.
Ed, can you?
Smells like whiskey here.
Can you do that for me?
That's a good start.
That's the note I always detect.
Right after Taco Bell.
Wait, what's the taste It'll be just like when Anthony did it.
Straight from the barrel always hits right. That is delicious. Actually very classic bourbon notes there. Caramel. So I know we're going to be showing some stuff, but this is Fierce Whiskers. They're one of the whiskey distilleries in Austin, Texas, and one of the most gorgeous whiskey distilleries here. So really fun to even go on like a date or something like that. They have great cocktails, just the amazing layout. I'll show you guys a little bit more of the whole layout here. I would say they're newer. I'm going to confirm, but I think it's like 3 to 4 years they've been here. But on the newer end, although they're hitting that point now where they're reaching the years in Texas where they start to get really good whiskey. So we're going to find out and we're going to do some more. All right, we're on to barrel number 3 now. This is actually Fierce Whiskers' first releases of their cask strength. They didn't have cask strength before.
bourbon.
I kind of did a heavy pour for this one.
Just a little bit.
What's your thoughts on this latest pour?
That's good, man.
I would say I get like herbal black tea.
Yeah, so I actually like Fierce Whiskers Rye a little bit more, but these cask strengths, it just brings so much more
Yes.
to the table. There's something you said about cask strength whiskey. Like you mentioned, I get a lot of those Kentucky notes, those sweeter notes.
Yeah.
Like less of those leather, Texas notes. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a nice balance between the two. If I drink this, I would.
Because you know what it is? I think like young Texas whiskeys is just rough.
Right.
You know, right? So it's like, oh, we're 2 years. But then it's just like charcoal. Whereas this,
a couple more years, really.
it give a couple. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is
Well done,
this is great.
Fierce Whiskers.
Yeah, this is perfect.
And I was telling them too, like gorgeous distillery. So.
It is, dude. Such a beautiful spot.
So what was this? Is oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I already have some in here, but I don't mind doing.
Just for the.
Yeah, exactly.
This is gonna make me look strong as shit. See that?
Oh yeah.
I didn't need a hammer at all. No brass hammer. Yeah, that's a big one. Sorry about that.
What was this again? Just for the.
Yeah, this is the what we were talking about in the video. This is the Armagnac finished bourbon. So we took a blend of our bourbons. They were right at 2 years, so a little bit over 2 years, and now they've been in a 70-gallon Armagnac barrel for 2 years.
So cool.
That's awesome.
It's got such a good house.
Yeah, it is. It's so unique.
Oh yeah.
So what is Armagnac?
Well, it's from
France.
and
That's what Bacta finishes half their shit in.
and Bacta is actually amazing.
Yeah, Bacta does a lot of Armagnac stuff.
They actually sell straight Armagnac in bottles.
Is it really?
Who does?
Bacta.
Bacta.
It's the guy who owned Whistle Pig.
Yeah.
He like sold his share and decided to start another business. So he went out to, I forgot what they're called, like where they hold all the Armagnac out there, and bought all these vintage Armagnacs.
South France, I think, or something like that.
Do you have a like most unique barrel that you like, or you just have been toying around with as a distiller here? I mean, that's pretty. The Armagnac one is definitely one of.
The sherry finished bourbon, which that we released, that one was incredible. We also have some port finished bourbons.
Nice.
And I was telling Andrew earlier, we put some of our rye in a Madeira cask.
Yeah. Love Madeira.
And that one is true, like very, very special.
Fun.
But honestly, some of our favorite barrels are just like the basic bourbons that
Yeah.
have just
Yeah.
gone directions that you
Yeah.
would have never thought they would go.
Are you guys hoping to start like a single barrel program soon in the future?
Yeah,
liquor stores can
so
come.
we do. We've done probably
guys
7
done
or
a
so now.
couple, yeah.
And we got a few more coming out.
Okay.
Are they cask-strength or?
Not always, but mostly.
Mostly.
Yeah, most of the people that have picked have wanted cask-strength. So we've done a few 107s, things like that, just because, like I said, sometimes our whiskeys, depending on which ones it is, they actually taste better with a little water. I prefer higher proof stuff, but sometimes like it actually does taste better at 101 or even
What
lower.
proof do you guys? What's like your? I live 100 110. I'm on the lower side. What do you guys live at proof wise?
So we found that our like baseline for our stuff is best at like 98, right
Okay,
around there.
cool.
So yeah, pretty close to
awesome.
what you're talking about. I tend to like 100 proof, 98 in that range, because I think that anything higher than that is a little bit of a challenge to drink. If you know what I mean, it's like fatiguing.
Yeah.
If
It
you
is.
drink
It is
2 or
Too
3
many
in a
minutes.
row.
Yeah, at that point you're just like nuking your throat. Yeah.
And I think that there's, when you add a little bit of water, there's also less places to hide. Like you have to make a good.
That's a great point.
open
Yeah.
up, yeah.
You have to make a really good spirit if you're willing, or I mean, some people don't, right?
Yeah.
But if you're willing to do it at a lower proof, like there's a reason for it.
Yep.
Because
Very good point.
you're not just like, okay, this is big.
Yeah, we always say that, like adding ice to whiskey. Normally you don't do it, but if you do it and it still holds up, that's impressive.
Yeah.
You're gonna find you're gonna find the faults and
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, now who did you vote for in the last election? No, I'm kidding.
Matter of fact,
I don't mind saying that right now.
I've got some thoughts.
I do have some thoughts I'm going to share.
All right, guys, let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
quick go
Get
now,
out of here.
now, get out.
Yeah, I feel like that cask drinks feels hotter to me than
That one for sure.
It warms
Yeah, we were drinking in the-
throat and your stomach.
The,
Yeah.
the
whoa.
Armagnac,
So the Armagnac,
has made that
just really
nuts.
warm. Yeah, that's gonna be a great winter.
what we were drinking inside.
Yeah, that's awesome.
With your
All right, so in your rick house, right? Because there's always the fabled like honey barrels.
Yeah.
Where's your sweet spot in here?
Good question.
That's a good question. We're not 100%
Not
sure
sure yet.
just because we filled it from the basement up. So the oldest barrels are in the basement, and then there's some that are here that are quite old. So that's a good question. We're not 100% sure. It does seem like whenever somebody picks a single barrel from us, it's the hardest barrel to get to. Like always.
Yeah.
So the more difficult to get to the barrel, the better it is. Yeah, that seems to be the
That's
key.
a sweet spot right there.
Well, when I was on a tour at Buffalo Trace, they were telling me, they're like, that stuff, that's your Weller Special Reserve up there, and that stuff
That's
down
the
there,
Panthers, yeah.
that's
They
your
start-
William LaRue Weller.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And this is going to be like your
interesting.
well foolproof, and I was just like,
They're probably just lying.
I wonder.
Yeah, they probably were.
I wonder why. Though.
It's all benchmark.
I mean, like, is there actually bigger reasons? Is it like cooler in the basement?
Yeah, so it is, yeah. There's also like it's more humid in our basement too. But we have found that with our rye specifically, the ones that were in the shadier part of the rick house, those tended to be needing a little bit more time than some of the other ones did. But the best ones were usually in those spots too. They just took longer to get there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was like that whole back row against the wall. The top one that didn't have as much like direct sunlight through the louvers was just incredible. They just weren't ready right off the bat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe it's.
45, the distillery that's north, up by McKinney.
Yeah.
They were saying because they're humid that their cask strength is lower than their barrel entry
Yeah.
because of the humidity.
Oh,
We've
wow.
had a few that have gotten close.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we
Damn. That makes
Weird,
sense.
right?
Yeah.
we've dumped barrels that were 115 that are now like 112, just because of humidity.
Yeah, so they're saying if it's drier air, it's gonna go up in proof. If it's
humidity.
more humid, it goes lower in proof.
Wow.
Which is why you can probably hear those fans.
Yep.
That's actually just to keep. It's not doing much cooling wise, but it's moving all the dry air up there down here, so
Okay.
each level's a little bit more consistent as opposed to having humid, less humid, dry. So that way everything's a little bit more consistent. So it's moving
that's
that
awesome.
kind of humid air
Instead of
around.
like moving these barrels up there.
Rotating like Maker's Mark.
Is that what they do?
Oh, Maker's Mark rotates. Yeah. Yeah, they got the BRT. That's what
Makes
they
a
do.
little bit more sense.
If you got enough space and you got enough data, like right now, we don't really even know. Like,
Right.
we've only pulled
Right.
barrels from this floor and in the basement.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, that's-
once we know, like,
Yeah, more data.
what the second floor tastes like,
Yep.
then maybe that is something we need to do. But
That's cool. Awesome.
yeah, makers, they've been doing it a while.
They rotate.
So we're walking back from Fierce Whiskers, and I mean, talk about things that happen on the Whisky Boys vlog. Look at this. What is going on? Why are these in your car, sir?
Welcome to episode 1 of Parking Lot Pours.
I like to drink.
Which this guy right here is a huge 4-grain fan. Is this your third bottle?
So I've had about 7 of them, right?
Oh my God.
Come through me, but I've only drank 3. This is my 4th.
Gotcha. That's
what
okay.
Come through you.
Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to say anymore. Thanks to,